discretion is advised as we cover many an insane movie and numerous cult TV phenomenons. Now, are you ready to get jacked up? Are you with us? Then listen on.
And we're back on the Jacked Up Review Show, and I got two other Misty buddies of mine, Candy Allison Smith, say hi.
Hello.
And Daniel, Nightmare Nerd, Ryan.
How ya doing?
And Jackey Raye Neyman Jones from Manos, the Hands of Faith. How are you?
I'm doing very well. Thank you.
All hail.
Right?
I mean, you wouldn't think so from the last scene of Manos.
I did have questions, yes.
Well, we'll see what I
So
can,
do we all.
I blocked some of it, so no.
Understandable.
Oh, yeah. Take it to the bank. Let's talk about my life.
Yeah, I
Not
always thought of
afraid.
Manos as a family film. To me, my family.
That's actually really cool.
Yeah, I mean, think about it. My dad played the master. He did all the props, all the hands on the mantle, the artwork, the master and dog painting. The Doberman was our family dog.
Was he also the master of the house?
Who's that? The dog?
No, your father.
My
Who
dad?
played, because that
No,
always playing the master.
probably my mom was, but and then my mom made the costumes, the wives' dresses, and the master, and my little Debbie's dress too.
Nice.
That's
So,
Very,
actually like a really cool story.
Even my great grandma's quilt was on the bed in the Valley Lodge.
we can do a play
Yeah,
on
that,
that.
May I interject?
we don't clean that damn couch. No. That
Yeah.
couch was already in the Valley Lodge.
No. Bed bugs galore.
It's got one of the most bizarre love scenes I've ever seen in a horror movie, and it's played with all that very catchy elevator music. Yeah, it's a very. I'm not gonna lie. People can say what they want about the soundtrack. It's a pretty catchy soundtrack.
I think it's
Oh,
creepy, and
yeah,
I don't
yeah.
easily get creeped. I don't get creeped very easily. So I watch an episode when I go to bed at night, and I used to put Manos on quite a bit, and I have to stop.
You poor
because
child.
it's hard, me being so into horror, and
What
I'm
help-
like, I just cannot watch this movie at bedtime.
Oh
Oh,
my God.
wow.
Well, at least
But,
something good came out of it. Jackie's still talking about it, and Torgo formed his own pizza shop. So
Apparently.
just kidding.
It's
I'm not
still
smart.
warm. Oh,
I heard Mike Nelson really took the role of Torgo very, very seriously. He reshoot it till he really had Torgo's walk and everything down.
No.
Oh, because
Yeah,
What
seriously.
interview was this?
I haven't had
back
the opportunity to meet Mike Nelson yet, but a couple years
he's
ago,
an elusive one.
I got to meet Frank and Trey.
especially the Joe Don Baker.
Joe Don Baker should have been.
I heard
he
that
should have been the
Trace is a
sheriff.
very lovely person.
Yes, I met Trace and Frank as well, but and they are sweethearts. But yeah, what were you gonna say, Jackie? You met them.
Oh, yeah, a couple years ago, I was just reminded on Facebook, memories. And but I got to go to an event and meet them, and that was really cool because it's Frank that first found Manos and reluctantly brought it to the rest of the team, and then
He
immediately
doesn't regret it,
regretted
just so you know.
his decision.
Yeah, he doesn't regret it at all. Actually,
You
he's just
Not
like,
anymore.
usually the movie finder. Yeah, he
He
brought a
thinks
lot of the movies
He,
to there.
he,
Yeah.
he knew he'd found something special with Manos.
And
well,
it's
he
funny
thinks it's
that
the
Manos is the #1 Misty rated episode. It's absolutely everyone's favorite. That's
Yeah, what was
kind
it?
of cool. I mean,
I mean, you gotta.
A few years ago, it was rated as the all-time fan favorite at the Turkey Day Awards.
Yeah, I remember watching that, and I was like, "Wow, okay, cool." I mean, it kind of surprised me. I guess it shouldn't have, but it did. I was like, "Wow, that
Well, let me
really."
tell you a
I
quick
mean, and
story.
then
It's like Con Air. It's one of the best movies for all the worst reasons.
Yeah. Well, let me tell you a story.
Yeah.
So,
Please.
Manos, we made it in 1966. And then we went to the premiere, and the premiere was like a big deal. My mom and I spent the whole day in the beauty parlor. She had opera length gloves. There was a limo. I mean, tuxedos. It was a big deal. Hal Warren, who created the film, not rented, he borrowed the big lights from the local car dealer to scan the sky. It was crazy. And so we all go in the theater, and my dad made sure that our family, had good seats. So we're about fifth row center. So we were truly trapped. And then the film started, and oh my God, the audience, at first it's dead silent, and then you hear some laughter, you hear comments, and it just got worse and worse and worse. And my mouth opens on the screen, and I realize my voice has been dubbed. So I spent the whole film just crying. I was so embarrassed.
oh
And
wow,
so we escaped as quickly as we could, as did every other cast member. Got the hell out of there. And the theater, the Capri Theater, um, canceled the rest of the 2-week run. They only showed it one night. It was so bad.
oh my
And
gosh.
and the entertainment writers in El Paso loved my dad. Because he was on stage. He was one of the top actors in community theater in El Paso at the time. He did a lot of lead roles, like R.P. McMurphy in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. He did
Cool.
King Arthur in Camelot. I mean, you wouldn't believe how he was on stage. And so they very, very kindly wrote little to nothing about it to let us live it down. And
Wow.
so anyway, I grow up, and to me, as a little kid, it was the best summer of my life, hanging out with my dad and being with all the grown-ups on set. And so I started looking for it as I grew up, and looking at university libraries, and I couldn't find it. It just wasn't there. And this is pre-internet. And then 1993, January 1993, I'm already married and have one son living in Northern California. My dad's living on the Oregon coast. And he calls me up. He says, "You'll never believe what I just saw on television."
Oh boy.
27 years go by. My dad's like taking a nap watching MST, which he really enjoyed the show. He was a fan. And he's taking a
That's
nap,
really cool.
and he wakes up because he hears this familiar music, and he sees himself.
Yep.
Yes,
Can't get
that's
that
it.
music out of your head.
So anyway, so then I mean, he watched the whole thing in horrid fascination before he called me, and it was on Comedy Central. So I turned on the TV, and I called that 800 number in the bottom corner of the screen, and it was a Sunday, I believe. And some guy answered the phone. His name was Matthew, and I said, "You just showed this movie that I've been looking for my whole life. My whole family was part of it. Is there any way I can get a copy?" And you have to understand, this is VHS times.
Oh
And
yeah.
he asked me the name of it, and I told him. And there's this long pause where I thought maybe he hung up on me, or we somehow got disconnected. And he goes, "Oh my God, are you Debbie?" So 27 years go by, and that's my first indication that anybody other than me gave a crap about this film.
And you've had kind of a rough time just starting up this sequel, Manos Return, after successfully funding it. According to Wikipedia, you had there was 2 other unofficial movies that never went anywhere, like The Search for Valley Lodge, which had a bunch of wrestlers, and then
Thank
there was The
God.
Rise of Torgo, which
Oh,
another
that
guy who
I'm embarrassed to say. No, I'm not. I don't mean to say that. Oh, but I'm not proud of my role in The Rise of Torgo. But yes, it is out. It's on Amazon Prime if you really, really need to see
Oh
it.
my God.
Oh, it is.
Have
Well,
I
Amazon
must
Prime,
find it.
and I'm thinking really hard right now. Like,
I
I'm
know.
going to buy this right now. Okay.
Oh,
Get my
okay.
remote control out
Oh,
right now.
It's
no, it's
already
funny
reviewed
about
on my
Manos
favorite.
and how big that it got. Actually, I don't like to talk about my exes, but here we go. One of my exes was a big Mystery Science Theater fan. This was some time ago, a long time ago. But he was so into Manos that he had written a sequel himself. This his complete screenplay. He's like, there really needs to be
oh,
a sequel, and I'm just like, wow, okay. I didn't really think about that, but I mean, he was into it, and I was like, I never really realized because it was never in my top episodes back then. Um, so I was like, huh, I never really thought about it, but that's when I started to notice so many people were into it. I'm like, I need to
oh.
revisit this.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that first sequel, the Search for Valley Lodge, God, he filmed probably a third of it and flew us all to El Paso. I mean, I was in it. We were, and then Gene Snitsky, WWF,
Not my fault.
and
Oh,
oh man, I
you
met the
guys.
coolest people. It was so much fun, and Ryan Jimmo, who's a God, what is he? Whew, he's a badass fighter. One of them badass multi. I don't shoot. I wasn't prepared for this.
MMA.
MMA fighter, but he died. I mean, not then, not because of us, but yeah, he passed away a couple years ago. But there was some really good people involved in that, and I'm sorry it didn't work out. But then we did our sequel, and Manos Returns, and life is life, and things went on, and we didn't get a distributor right away, and everybody got back into their own projects. But it is happening this year. I wish I could tell you more, but my team and I just had this conversation today, and they're like, "This is all you can say right now." But I just
Keep it
can't
secret.
wait to.
Keep it. The master would not approve.
But also there's other projects happening this year. Um, Willow Polson is creating a web series, and it'll be filmed in Sonoma County this spring. That's the plan. And
The voice actor,
what's that?
the voice actor Rob Paulson from
No,
Ninja
Willow.
Turtles.
Her name is.
Animaniacs.
Oh, well, we'll see. Oh yeah, I think he is from Mania. Yeah, he's from.
No, 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 no.
No.
Willow, woman, and she already
Oh.
has an award-winning web series right now, and so she's creating a web series called Manos: The Debbie Chronicles, and there's actually a Facebook page, and so it's my character, and I get to be all badass here, battling supernatural evil.
Debbie
Nice.
is back,
Such a
and this
misfit.
time it's personal.
and
This
then
sounds
and
really cool, actually.
and then we were talking about, well, there's a remake happening as well.
Hmm.
And if you look up the movie called Plan 9, he did
Plan
a
Who
9
he
hasn't?
from
did
Tort. You
no,
should call
but
it
he
Plan
did the
9 from
remake.
Torgo Space.
The remake is called Plan 9.
Oh, okay.
And he made it recently in the last couple years, and it's really good and it's really funny. And then I heard he was working on a Manos remix, so I connected with him, and he's having me recreate a lot of the things that my dad did in the original film because I'm a professional artist as well. And
Nice.
so I'm redoing, the master's painting and the robe that I say I was there when my parents made the original, so I make the robe just like my mama made the original.
Cool.
In fact, I do Manos robes, custom robes. I sell them, and I'm making number 20 right now.
That's
Um,
really awesome.
Actually,
I
on
can
that
see
note,
that
can I
being
ask you a
something
question?
that people would want. Yeah.
And yeah, and I make Torgo staffs too. My dad made the
That's
original.
even cooler.
Oh, that hand, my dad cut that out of cold rolled steel with his welding torch, and I did the same thing. I've got 19 of them. I made them, and I've made 3 versions of the Master and Dog painting. One was a custom painting. A guy wanted Frank Zappa and the poodle, so
Frank Zappa,
so the Master,
MST3K fan, believe it or not.
yeah, Zappa,
But
the Master.
going back a bit, forgive me, I still do need to read your book behind on my ebooks. What year did you start your art career, your painting and?
Oh my gosh, I've pretty much been self-employed most of my life. I
Hey,
worked in
that's how it's go.
my very first job for 2 years. I worked in a machine shop, and I was the only
Been
girl,
there.
and that was in the 70s, and
Mm,
right after high school, right out of high school. And then, let's see, oh, and then I moved to Northern California. I got into the wine industry kind of by accident. And
accident
that was like the
by
greatest time
accident.
of my life. I learned so much wine and food. Sonoma County, in the 80s. That was incredible.
Oh, that
And
is very nice.
um, and then I started my own art career in my late 20s. I started doing, oh, that's right. I started with hand painted T-shirts, and I
Mm,
was selling them wholesale to all the winery tasting rooms because I knew everybody, and made a pretty good living. And then I went into, oh, that's right. This woman said, I love your T-shirt designs. Do you think you could stencil my kitchen? And then I had a 30-year career doing high-end faux finish, like plaster textures, Venetian plasters, murals, anything you can imagine. I mean,
mm.
the High Roller Lounge at the Chinook Winds Casino. I've done restaurants. I, whew, 30 years climbing ladders and doing walls and ceilings. And then
Nice.
now I'm
Christine
doing
Chapel.
a lot of mono stuff and my own art. I sell my own art.
I must confess, I didn't know you also did acting. I mean, I did, but I forgot. I remember most people have seen you in the TV movie Curse of Bigfoot, but I I actually
He has
recently
not
saw.
exploded on Mars.
Yeah,
Oh my God.
I actually recently saw Primal Rage. It's actually a pretty legit, very cool movie. But I didn't know you were in it.
Had a great movie.
It's pretty solid. I mean, the monster effects are good. It's a fun kind of fight to the death in a forest kind of movie. It
Well,
looks.
yeah, the guy who put that together, he not only created the costumes for Alien versus Predator, but he played the alien. Patrick
Cool.
McGee, he is 6'8",
Oh my
and
goodness.
he, yeah, he brought his cast up here, and I got to be a location coordinator. And so that scene that I'm in, that's my backyard, that's my teepee, and the guy pulling the stuff out of my guts is my ex-husband,
Oh,
and
jeez.
my
Existential
grandchildren
fantasy.
too. I love that. That was so much fun. That's a good movie. The Bigfoot movie, Primal Rage.
Well,
Mm.
and for 12 million, it looks way more expensive. And I I mean, I'm giving too much away here, but this will actually kind of make people want to seek it out. I like how it plays on the whole kind of 1 minute she's being stalked by actual Bigfoot, then the next minute she and her boyfriend are also getting stalked by these guys, these hunters who are, imposters pretending to be Bigfoot, who are just, hunting people for sport. It's just
Yeah.
really it's two different dreaded terrors, and you're on your seat the whole time. The gore feels justified because it's not just for shock. You actually feel like you're seeing this gruesome stuff happen in front of you. They did a banged up job, and it's airing
Yeah.
endlessly on Showtime right now. So no,
Is
fucking
it?
congratulations.
Good. Good.
Yes,
Oh yeah,
no,
that young couple who. Thank you. Yeah,
no,
that young
seriously,
couple who
because
played, you know, the victims. Wow. They
well, and
did
I'm not
so.
here to
Oh
excuse my
wait, I
excuse
can I just say one thing?
please
I don't
please
even. mm, I don't know if I should. So the young man who played the boyfriend, he.
yes.
Should I say this? He only has one leg,
Whoa.
right? He's like he was
No
in.
way.
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, I didn't see his legs most of the film time, so that
Well,
probably
'cause
makes
he's
sense.
wearing
I mean,
jeans, but he's wearing jeans. He covers it. But I was just like, I mean, unbelievably impressed by not just his act, just his character. Like, as a person, like, who he is and his strength and resilience. Incredible.
that is mind blowing, and it definitely. Excuse my French. I sound like I'm kissing ass here. I just want to tell you, Jackie, you are not in the worst movie of all time. Uh,
I know
that was
that.
filmed. That was filmed in El Paso, and I'm in Dallas, Texas, and there is way, way, way worse amateuristic filmmaking that is made on a daily, let alone yearly basis here. We have so much unprofessionalism here. I'm already unprofessional for just telling you that, but seriously, I see people
No.
who refuse
I
to
lived in
curse
Texas for two
because
years.
they're
I had to go.
oh well, see, like we have people who refuse to curse. They're like, it's against my religion. I'm like,
Oh
and you
yeah, yeah.
you didn't have the decency to tell me that you had a problem with this before we shot. We have cinematographers who are perverts and try flirting with married women. We have some fucked up shit around here. So when we have people making stuff for trauma, and it's just like, no, let's make
I
a
love
legit good
trauma.
movie. Well, that's fine, but so you might want to check out the most unwatchable movie known to mankind, known as Cancer Dancers, also known as Meat Market Mayhem. God, fuck that movie.
Oh,
Ooh,
What?
that's
I love that
dumb.
one.
Meat
Love
Market
that one.
Mayhem. Yeah,
Well,
that's a bad
like,
one.
No
you know,
budget like low budget.
Curse of Bigfoot is way worse than Manos. I mean, there's so many bad films, and that's what's so trippy about it. And you would think
Urban
by now
Sasquatch.
I could explain the attraction, but I can't. There's some kind of
Oh,
magic.
I can totally. Well, part of it is, you're dealing with a urban legend. So you're going to have people who will show up, regardless of whether it is quality or not. So the marketing is wonderful in that respect. Now, on the next respect, like you say, I've been on many independent films. There is nothing more awkward when you go to it opening night and people are ready to do a Q&A and you don't want to go on the stage. You want to try and see how you can sneak out without looking like a
Thinking
jackass.
the
You know
audience.
what I mean? It is
So,
so underwhelming, and you just have to just pretty much can it that whole time and then say, this is the last time I'll, lose my number. I'm sorry. Because regardless of whether it's quality or not, it's one of those, you're not proud of it. But I mean,
yeah,
you have kind of recreated yourself in a way where it's like, okay, I was in a few of these infamous movies, but I'm a cool person, and I get that it's kind of they're cult movies, and that it's just
yeah.
different time, different era, different perspective compared
It
to
just
where
it hits.
anyone can take out their
Yeah.
iPhone and just doodle around, and it's like, yeah, no, this is barely even a movie, guys.
It's hard if you can hand crank it.
Okay,
Well, my
that's one way.
answer has always been if you can't be the best, make the most at being the worst.
Yep.
That's very fair.
That's great. I love that. And just
Well,
hearing
and
about
the
your
other
life
thing is,
is so
I mean,
interesting.
if you're gonna make a
yeah,
bomb, be damn proud of it. James
Yeah,
Living
James
I'll
in
even,
Cameron made
Deadwood.
Piranha 2.
to quote Alec Baldwin, if you know you're gonna suck, suck less.
oh,
Yeah,
I like that.
that's good.
Oh,
And
I'm
Good
writing
porn
that
star
down.
quote.
as a cheer up and as to wrap up this portion of the talk, good buddy Jim Morazzini of the well-known movie blog spot Voices from the Balcony, he gave Manos the Rise of Torgo 3 out of 5 stars.
What?
Yeah,
Oh
and
no.
at the very end, I'll just quote this for you. Obviously, a sincere attempt to continue the Manos story and not a cynical, ironic cash-in. I don't know about that part, but he does an excellent
Oh,
job of recreating the feel of the original. There is a newscaster played by the son of the original's director, and the dub voice of the sheriff is provided by the son of the first film's
uh-oh.
sheriff. Of course, casting Debbie from the original as Manos was a move of pure genius. I'm not
No.
okay. Well, I'll just
No.
say, apart from the nostalgia, there were some wonderfully offbeat touches, such as the young Torgo played by a boy with an obviously fake beard, or the two old ladies who do everything in sync. Rise of Targo really does capture the spirit of the original, and for those that find that a good thing, this will be just what they're hoping for. I know
Oh,
I'm hoping Revenge of Torgo happens as well. So that's what he said in the review. So
I.
he's
Oh
being
my
Always good to have
God.
fans.
he's
Yeah,
got a fan.
maybe I'm not
I know
proud.
Jim. He is a cool guy. We're gonna have him on here to talk about the 10 ultimate horror movies. So I mean, oh god. So I thought we'd recast a few other movies if you had,
Yeah.
and I'll let Daniel chime in and turns of who gets to direct, and I'll let Candy say
Oh boy.
who gets to write and produce. So, but
I actually have a
just
couple ideas.
yeah, I'll
Perhaps.
let you start out as the cast.
Oh, the
uh,
cast?
yeah, if you had to,
Okay. Well, I mean, really, I hadn't gotten too far into it, and as we talk, I'm sure some other names, but
yeah, please.
for let's see, for Torgo, I was thinking Billy Bob Thornton,
Yes,
Good pick.
yeah.
Good pick.
That's
He's in
great.
Texas. He's available.
and for the master, I was thinking Jack Nicholson,
Yeah.
That would be so good. Oh
He'd,
my
he'd,
god.
right?
he'd roll that one. He'd roll that one.
Movie.
Oh, wait, and Michael. I mean, it's a different look, but think Nicolas Cage.
Oh, now Steve and Izzy from the podcast Everything We Learned from Movies will really love this. And they are all
I watched
about
the place.
yes,
Yes.
they're all about Nicolas Wage
Oh.
chiming
Yeah.
in on
And
every
what's the kid? Oh, I mean, she's all grown up now, but if she was still young, the one from shit, Close Encounters.
Oh,
That's
shoot.
Debbie.
Okay.
What's her name? Oh, dang it!
It's been so long since I've seen it.
I
I'm trying to like
know
picture it,
it's just.
but I can't.
I'm looking it up right now.
God, I can see her face
Obviously it's not Terry Garr. That would be a
now.
miscast. Uh,
But
uh,
Diane, no.
I can't find it. Oh my God!
Brooke-
Stop.
Oh, no, not Brooke. No, that's not it. Oh, dang it.
What about the gal from Stranger Things? Just to fuck with people.
You read my mind. You read my mind. Her.
Really? Okay.
Well,
Millie
might as
Bobby
well.
Brown.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, she's adorable. Oh my god. Yeah.
If,
Yeah.
That'd be great.
if I may chime in,
Please.
Christopher Walken as the master.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah. Well, because I mean, all he has to do is walk.
I
Steve,
like that.
I don't know
Oh,
if I can take that
really?
seriously.
Steve Buscemi as Torgo,
Yes. Yes.
and John Lithgow as Michael.
Oh, baby. Okay,
That's
and who gets to
So,
play the wife and daughter?
who?
That one I hadn't thought of, but from Stranger Things, yeah, her the daughter, and the wife. If she was still alive, Carrie Fisher.
Ooh. Okay. Yeah.
Hmm.
I mean,
or Linda Blair.
I mean, it depends.
No.
Are we going? It sounds like you're going by a late '90s, early 2000s. So let's.
What better?
Okay. Hey, I'd see either of these versions of this movie just because why the hell not? I thought Chris Walken should have played Tommy Wiseau in the Disaster Artist version of The Room. So I mean, what do I know? Okay, Candy. What the hell? Who should direct, write, and star in a remake of Manos?
Okay, I'm gonna get some guff for this, and I personally don't like this dude, but I like his movies, so I'm gonna go for all three Quentin Tarantino, just to be like edgy and stylish, kind of put that
Oh,
little
Yeah,
weird,
okay.
and maybe do some stuff out of sequence. You know how he does. And he's cinematically a genius, but he's actually a jerk in real life. But whatever.
I concur
Well,
with
I've
They
that.
heard.
usually are.
I don't think anyone's gonna disagree
Yeah,
with you there. I mean,
but we're not hiring
but
him for his personality.
right, just
You know?
as long
So
as he shuts the fuck up and does what he's told, we're cool.
And
But
stays away from the women's feet, please.
oh god, yeah, I was about to say,
Let's
I
not
will.
make this weirder than it has to be.
Yeah, I will greenlight this movie as long as he doesn't get final cut and he doesn't have any shots of people's feet.
But
so
then, is it really a Quentin Tarantino movie? I mean,
Well, to be fair, there's a lot of people who love
because
natural
he's
born
kind of
killers.
got like a Torga level creepiness factor, but he'd be like checking out her feet. You know what I'm saying?
Well, yeah, that'd be fine. But to be fair, I mean, a lot of people like The Rock and Crimson Tide, which he rewrote, as well as Natural Born Killers, which he disowned, but a lot of people like. So, I mean, what is a
Oh,
Tarantino?
Natural Born Killers,
Can I
one of my
can I
favorites.
just chime in here for a moment, please?
Please.
Because today we lost Terry Jones of Monty Python.
Yes.
May he rest forever.
Yeah.
I think it's worth noting the one movie scene Quentin Tarantino couldn't handle was Mr. Creosote from Monty Python: The Meaning of Life.
What?
What?
Like in interviews, Tarantino said that was the one movie scene that made him feel sick.
You're kidding.
What?
I wish I
What?
were.
Well, now I know Tarantino is an alien.
Hey, yeah, fuck it, I'm gonna throw
I
up.
was I was thinking more of like one of those lizard people, but that works.
Well, I think anyone could tell you that. Yeah, I mean, to be like Xena is the best TV show of all time, and then get all
To
these
be
other.
fair, Bruce Campbell did add a little spice into Xena. I watched it for the little Bruce Campbell things. I'll do anything for Bruce Campbell, as we know. But
That's fine. It
Who
just seems
wouldn't?
like Tarantino's one of those guys. He seems to think that trash cinema is like top quality, and he works
but
that
I
into.
mean, the man's created his own cinematic universe. I just think it would be like a neat take. Like I'm interested in what he would do with it. I think he would do something really cool,
I
and he gets into like some B films. So there'd be some neat little stuff he could do.
He could probably get
yeah,
a bunch of
I agree.
people who have been.
Boobs.
Well, there's that, but he could definitely get a lot of people from Full Moon Entertainment. I'll tell you what. Fuck it. I'm gonna go
Charles
ahead with
Band.
this. So I'm gonna
Charles
have.
Band and Charles Manos.
You're close. You're not far. I'm gonna have Tim Thomerson. Yes, Jack Death from Trancers himself
Oh,
as Torgo, and then then I'm gonna have Michael Madsen as the Master, and
Oh
then
my god!
yes, then I'm gonna get uh B movie scream queen Tiffany Shepis as the wife, and I know, and one of the brides can be played by Yancey Butler from Hard Target and Drop Zone fame. She needs work. I'll give it to her. Uh, and I don't know who the fuck I will have be the daughter. It'll come to me.
See, I'm bad with child actors. As I was
Yeah, I
taking
know.
notes,
And
I'm like, I really can't think of any. My kids are all older now, so I don't
hell,
know.
I'll just cast one of my cousins as it. Perfect. Okay, so we're set for life already. So, and then I'd have the music be by Tangerine Dream. Yeah, I did this last episode. I'm cheating again. Yeah,
I knew you were
and
Trent Reznor again.
okay, yeah, and
I'm
Trent
thinking
Reznor.
edgy.
Oh, and Trent Reznor will definitely he can play the sheriff's deputy who stops him as well. He'll be a little brief cameo.
and
And
who
he
will be the couple making out?
ooh, I will have Dale DeBone and Cassandra Cruz. Yeah, famous porn
Good
stars.
choice.
Sorry.
Oh,
Daniel,
throwing
I
porn
love
stars
how
in here now. Oh my god.
I love how Daniel instantly knows who the fuck I said. No, seriously, I
I was
will
kind of like,
have.
I don't know these people. Why don't I know these people?
I,
Hey,
As
porn
a
star.
follower of Trauma and a Full Moon, yeah, I know them.
no,
I
well, no, I'll even do you one better. No, the couple making out is Lynn Shay from those Conjuring movies and Lance Henriksen. Boom, solved.
No, how about Linnea
choice.
Quigley? She was a scream queen. You know, think of like
Okay,
Return of
fine.
the Living Dead.
That's
She
that's
needs
fine.
work. She needs work. And I like her.
Okay, yeah, fine.
And if you know the movie Night of the Demons, kind of not everybody knows that movie, but it's great. She was in that. So I think
Hashtag
she'd be
lipstick boobs.
good.
Oh my God,
Exactly.
Daniel, stop with the boobs.
I was like,
Be
9
a
years old, going,
gentleman here.
"What just happened?"
Oh my God, Jackie's like, what the hell are we doing with
Oh,
this?
be a gentleman. Talk about Manos, the hands of fate. Oh, yeah, sure.
Well, yeah. So now I know where your mind is thinking where those hands go, you perv. But anyway, so long story short, yes, we're having all
Hands
these.
of melons.
Oh my fucking God, I can't even get a word in my own show. Anyway, so yes, it would be B movie tastic. We would have a lot of From Dusk Till Dawn style fight scenes. We'd have all these
Oh,
spears.
Tom Savini somewhere. Tom Savini with effects. Sorry,
Yeah,
I'll
well,
put that in.
I had a bad convention experience with him. He stays,
We
but
don't talk about Tom Savini like that.
we
No,
will
no.
have we can have Pony Boy see Thomas Howell if you want as the sheriff.
Stay gold.
He's a good dude. He's been in a lot of movies. At the end of
Not
the day, people.
recently.
Oh yes, he has. I saw he's on Still Team TV show right now. Believe it or not, as the abusive dad. So anyway,
Oh, okay. Cool.
but he was on Criminal Minds for God's sake. So I mean, he could. I would be playful with this. I would have there be a demented sheriff and some other stuff. I'd add some vampires to the mix. Have Fred Williamson in here as a voodoo fortune teller who helps them on their way. And yeah, we'd have a bunch. Oh, and I brought him up last time. The dad of the mom will be played by Andrew Divoff. Do you know who that is, Jackie?
No.
That's the Wishmaster.
I know him as the Russian smuggler from Law and Order SVU, who eats tigers.
What the fuck? Yeah, that's one episode, dude. But I mean, I love SVU, but that episode, I'm scratching my head there for a minute. But no, he's the bad guy in Toy Soldiers, and he's one of Gary Oldman's henchmen in First
Toy
One. So,
Soldiers. I haven't thought about that movie
Ah.
ever since I saw it.
you might have seen him as James Remar's evil biker brother in another 48 Hours. So, I mean, he plays a bunch of. He's been Venezuelan and part Russian, so he's been the go-to bad guy for a while. He's even in the awful Indiana Jones movie, The Crystal Skull. So, I mean, he's been everywhere. So,
Wow.
yeah. So I would have him be the main protagonist because he never gets to play a hero. So we'd have some fun there. Yeah. So we got pretty much the whole
Well,
cast
we
got around.
left out the B horror movie King.
But
For
the
example, I
wife,
really think.
not wife.
Say again.
I'm sorry.
You don't have the wives.
Ooh.
Oh.
Got 6 women to cast there.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
It's about
Hmm.
4 of them. Not mistaken, correct?
What?
I lost count.
I
I'm
feel
sorry.
like Helena Bonham Carter would just like fit in really well as one of the wives.
She
you
would,
know,
but
like,
how are we gonna afford this movie now? I mean, we're talking
well,
A-list
this is
talent.
Yeah.
pretend. This is pretend. I have
know.
Quentin Tarantino directing, so there's millions right there. So
Okay.
just we're just having fun with it.
Where's Michelle
Money
Bauer
is not
on
an
this?
object.
Where's Michelle Bauer? Too much. Too over the top. We could have. Oh, Tracy Scoggins from Babylon 5 and Highlander. Could have her be in this.
Wasn't she in Arena too?
Irina?
Arena.
Yes. Wait, no, that's Claudia Christian you're thinking. Perfect.
Oh,
We'll have
sorry,
Babylon 5 reunion here. We'll have all the Babylon 5 people on here. We'll have Patricia Tallman, famous stunt woman.
I love Patricia Tallman.
Yeah,
she
she's
was
in
in
the
Savini's remake of Night of the Living Dead, and she
Yes.
is so lovely. I just
She's
love her.
hysterical. And she's an awesome actress.
Oh,
Yeah.
and the chick, Deborah Ann Woll, who was in True Blood, she'd be great.
Okay.
I
So
like her.
So not that you guys are. I mean, you're more familiar with actors and actresses, but the original Manos, all those wives, the 6 women came from the local Mannequin Manor modeling school.
I've
really?
heard that.
So you
Oh.
might want to pick models.
Oh,
Okay.
well,
Cara Delevingne.
I
Thanks,
like
Manos.
that. This
She
can't
just
be.
seems kind of mean. Like she could just really throw down in that fight scene.
Yeah,
They're
she's a
wrestling
cool gal.
around.
This can't be any worse than Valerian. So I mean,
Right.
I could
Never
resist.
have that time in my life back.
Oh God. What about Ruby Rose?
Oh,
Did you
I
see some
love
modeling?
her.
She's
Yeah.
in the same fan circle, so I didn't know if she did modeling prior to acting, but I mean,
Why does that name sound familiar?
you've
She
seen
did
her.
on Orange is the New Black. She's kind of, yeah, she did some modeling. Yeah.
She's Batwoman right now. She's
Oh, no.
was also in the Meg and
Ooh, another one,
Triple X
Chrissy
Returns on
Teigen.
stage.
Because we need to have some diversity here. Like Chrissy Teigen, she's gorgeous. She's a model.
I
She's kind
guess
of a,
okay.
I just, I think
As
she'd
long as
fit
she
in well.
arrives on time and doesn't get pretentious, yeah, we'll get along.
I think
Well,
she's
we could
funny.
move into the modern world and have a little diversity, don't you think? I
Yeah,
mean,
that's why I was
I
like,
agree
Chrissy
with that.
Teigen, let's put her in
interested
there.
in
No, that's
white
fine.
Hispanic women.
Okay, Latina model. Who's the one gal who used to date DiCaprio? Looking it up now.
Oh, I can't think
Who
of her
didn't?
name.
Oh,
I would say that he's dated all of the models, I think.
gorgeous.
But that's why I brought up Chrissy Teigen. I'm trying to think of like diverse roles for, some diversity in there.
I heard Jackie
she's
there.
gorgeous.
Are you saying we cast DiCaprio as the master?
No,
Either fun of it.
Joking,
You would have fun with
joking.
it.
that'd be terrible. That'd make it a
Be his
worse
second
movie than it
Oscar.
was.
Yeah, well, I mean, it is a popularity contest. Okay, so Bar Raffelli was the Israeli model he dated, and
Oh yeah, okay, yeah.
that's who
I
I'm
remember
thinking.
that now.
Maybe.
Gorgeous, gorgeous.
Hmm.
Stella Maxwell, I think her name is. She's Victoria's Secret angel, and
Ooh.
and also part of the
I want Charlie's Angels.
LGBTQ community. So there's
Yeah.
that diversity there.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Cool ideas. Great minds think alike, and then some. Man. There was actually, I have to tell you this, Jackie. I don't know if you saw it. It was just, I shared this with a bunch of my other buddies online, and we were bad shit, just laughing just endlessly for about an hour. There was this random Tumblr, and it too was also randomly looking at random pictures of celebrities, and for whatever reason, this dude was on a roll here, just comparing them to other famous or infamous horror icons because they just had, and he looked at an old picture of Eric Roberts and he's like, I feel like Eric Roberts should play the master in a series.
King Cat, like the Recast thing.
Yeah, unfortunately. But
Well,
if anything, I can think of 50 good Eric Roberts movies, which is more than I can say about today's A-listers, where they have like maybe 5 good movies. It's just that he's very easy to make fun of because he does anything, much like favorites of the show. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess he could do the master. I don't know.
Just the voice alone, just yes. You must leave.
Eric Roberts.
We can't go one episode without mentioning his ass.
Well, good for
Words to the
him.
right mouth.
There used to be a podcast called Eric Roberts is the fucking man, but those guys just stopped. I should get their asses on here and say, hey, what the hell, guys? Do I have to continue your podcast for you? Damn it. Oh.
One of these podcasts, we're gonna have a talk about Tom Savini. I'm just letting you know. You totally rebuked my Tom Savini effects, so I'll give you that one
Oh
this
no
time.
no.
But
He
next
can do the
time,
effects. No, he can do the effects. I'm definitely not keen on his acting.
it's fun. He's not an actor, you know.
Yeah.
He knows
That's
he's
not his
not.
strong point. But his effects are the best,
Yeah,
and
no, he can do the effects all day.
and
He
he's
totally.
actually a good director too. You know, I thought
No,
the remake of Night of the Living Dead was great.
no, he did a good job on it.
I just know most people don't like him as a person, so we've
uh, he's
talked about that.
He looks
he's
like an
not a
owl.
bad person. He's just one of those. He's very moody and tough to
He's
approach.
very gruff. I've met him many times, and each time I meet him, it's like it's nicer, you know.
Okay.
It's just you've got to kind of like it's like dipping your toe in the bath before you jump all the way in.
Okay.
Conversation for another day.
Jeez. So I gotta just stop approaching him on a bad day. Damn, maybe I just need to. Maybe I just need to leave him the fuck alone.
Maybe it helps because I'm like one of those bubbly females. I'm like, oh my god, hi, I love your movies, and I don't know if that helps, but
Okay. Well, Jackie, thank you for having a moment of your time here. It's been lovely chit
Very
chatting
much.
with
Well, thank you so much. It was really fun. Had a
It was a
good
pleasure.
time.
you.
Thanks
And
for inviting me.
I mean, it's either this or we cross over Manos with EGOD. Watch out for snakes.
Yeah, right. Watch out for snakes.
Mitchell.
Yeah, there you go. Mitchell solves the crime and shoots the snake and then gets possessed by the master. Okay.
Well, then I'll end it on this.
Yes.
Is that in my 20s, I bought a 3-foot boa constrictor from a woman,
No.
and I
Oh.
for years. And when I got rid of him, it was only because I went to clean his cage one day after he was over 6 foot. I kept him in this huge terrarium, and I went to pour water into his water dish, and he was in a irritated mood, and he latched onto my hand
Ooh.
and and uh and broke a tooth off in my
No.
oh wow, nightmare fuel.
Oh,
yeah. So I ended up
You're
selling him
invincible.
after that because I was a little nervous around this 6-foot boa constrictor after that. But that tooth, I didn't have medical insurance, so I never did anything about it, and it never got infected. But
oh,
it moved into my body, and it put itself against my forefinger. It was my forefinger. So
oh.
many years
Daniel's
ago, I know it's kind of trippy. So for many years, I could feel the bump of his tooth up against my bone, and now, I mean, it's gone. It's like become part of me. I'm part snake.
The Snake Woman, just like that one Jennifer Lynch Bollywood movie. Jeez. So now, now, man,
That's got
I
enough.
think you're the original Iron Woman here. Holy shit! I mean, you
I
told
am
that
so
snake what
impressed by
for.
you.
And you know what?
Just
I
amazing.
have never
I hope to be
told
that cool.
I've never told this story on any other interview, so there you
Well, why
go.
were we an exception? Jeez. I love the story, but holy shit! Please keep the story concealed. Someone in
Yeah,
Italy is gonna
please.
steal this story and make money off it. You need to make all the profit off your real life story here. Jesus.
No,
Can I?
I've got
How much do you want for the rights to your real life that I can adapt?
I've got a really cool photo of me and my best friend with that snake in a photo shoot with a photographer she was dating. All I have is the like the what is it called? The proofs. I mean the small, and I just need to find somebody that can blow them up and make them clear, 'cause damn, they're pretty hot. I was 19 years old, and we were holding. Oh, yeah, I got to get those done.
Wow.
Ooh,
Oh,
it's been lovely having you on here. What we got to do it again
Thank
some
you.
other time. Have you review a few other horror movies, maybe other genres even. What do you think of this one chick
That
flick? What
would
do you
be
think of this
fun.
stupid action movie? No.
That would be fun. In fact, tonight,
awesome.
because in honor of Terry Jones
Yeah.
from Monty
As you.
Python, I'm gonna see if I can find Life of Brian. I gotta watch that tonight.
Okay. Yeah, we could do a
Is that
Python.
the Messiah? He's a very naughty boy.
Now for something completely different. Oh yeah, we could do our other favorite Python works. We could theme it that way. Just talk about their other stuff they've done that's underappreciated.
Oh my god. I was a huge fan. Them and
We've
Fire
not
Sign
watched
Theater.
it.
Huge fan.
I have yet to encounter anyone who isn't a fan. Most of the time, it's just someone who, for whatever reason, they don't like anything British, racist. But is someone.
No, they're just jerks.
Well,
That's
it's
all.
British
Yeah,
humor is different, than we're used to. It's a little
yeah,
drier, and I
but
love that.
yeah, but these are the kind of jerks who are like, "Oh, I can't hear what they're saying." I'm like, seriously,
Oh
come
my
on.
goodness.
Get your.
Oh,
They're the same people who can't watch a typical action movie. They're just like, "Oh, it went too fast." I'm like, "Well, then get new glasses." I do have glasses. I'm like, then you're beyond help.
yeah. Yeah, that's not the movie's fault. But anyway, we'll end on
Where can we see you
Godspeed.
now? Are you big on Twitter? You're big on Facebook, I
Well,
know.
I am on Facebook, and I don't know. Can I send links, or I don't know how you
Please
Uh,
do.
I will tag you in this post when the episode is complete and edited, and I mean, feel free to tag in a few other things that you want to promote there. I mean,
Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah, show you my book and some of the new projects. A lot coming up this year. A lot.
nice. Very lovely, very lovely, and keep kicking ass on the wild side of cult cinema.
Well, thank you so much. It was fun.
Oh, thank you.
Thank
It was
you very
so
much.
great to talk to you.
Nice
By all
talking to you.
It was
Good
a
night.
pleasure.
Uh-huh.
Alrighty. You know where to find them, B Movie Addicts. So check her out. Getting on to you, Candy and Daniel. Well, what are you guys up to now in the world of MST Free K? Them.
Well, as far as my social media alter ego, the Nightmare Nerd, I'm kind of working on getting my YouTube channel moving, so I've neglected it for a while. I'm an active author on House of Tortured Souls, which is a webzine for horror movies, fiction, TV shows. Got a review coming up for a craft beer I stumbled onto called Stay Puft, beer infused with marshmallow. I don't taste it personally, and just trying to make horror kind of my new living, because I'm pushing middle age and I feel I finally found my calling.
Yeah, it's always been my calling.
Well, no, that's good because I mean, I'm a struggling indie filmmaker, and I mean, I got this movie right now under production that's basically a mixture of stuff like Species or The Stuff, and we're
The
finding out how.
stuff is
Cool
great.
combo.
Yeah, so I mean, we are. It's not hard to. Uh, it's really not hard to come up with a concept, but you do have to get a crew who is consistent and not playing around. And I mean,
the keyboard.
yeah, sorry to get that in the shot, but that'll be fun editing later. But no, seriously, you want to just find people who are consistent, and the shoot can't be long. It can't be long. That much is clear. So if it's got to be 2 weeks versus 3 months, do it, but make it work and make it be on time, on budget. Don't dick around. And unfortunately, I've encountered it too many times. I was on a awful war movie, which I'll go ahead and tell you, I was called Run the Border, and basically no one was prepared at all. And I'll show you the trailer for it when we get done, even because it basically, it just, it was something else. It just was like everybody was just playing around, acting like everyone was being a diva, and it's like, no, you don't get it. This doesn't work. You got to prepare this. This is going to take longer, no matter how many seconds it is on film. And I mean, action and horror are legit genres. You definitely want to try those because I mean, people are more likely to give it a chance because it's a very easily enjoyable genre. So
And filled with super fans that will, jump in
it,
there.
and they're more forgiving even if the acting is crap because I mean, it just it basically it, sometimes it can be derivative or
Well,
very inspired. I'm just as likely to see a movie that's a ripoff of Hellraiser as I am an actual Hellraiser sequel. I'm just as likely to see a movie that's a
they are
ripoff of
all
Die Hard.
imitating something.
Yeah, or a ripoff of Die Hard as opposed to another Die Hard movie. So
a great seminar I once saw with Peter Weller, RoboCop, because he talked
oh,
about
I
how
bet.
it's all art, and he said, in the end, we're all ripping off cave paintings that are millennia old. So
Yeah, RoboCop is pretty much the best comic book movie not based on a comic book, if you think about it.
but his
Yeah, that makes kind
well,
of
his
sense,
point,
I
because
guess.
he's an art lover and a history lover, but he's saying, all cinema is art history. Art history is ripping off, what came before it. They're all ripping off the Sistine Chapel. The Sistine Chapel is ripping off the Last Supper, and in the end, they're all ripping off these cave paintings that were painted millennia ago. So it's all
Yeah,
been done. It has all been done. So don't ever you're doing something new.
Tarantino
Yeah,
is
and
a
it's just like
milkshake.
your take on it, basically.
Yeah, I mean, if we're gonna do any new Disney movie, it's only gonna be great if it looks at it from the viewpoint of a different character.
Why do you think they're doing these damn live action remakes where now it's all the bad guy's point of view? Give me a break.
Right.
Okay, a little piece of trivia on that. Walt Disney himself, my daughter told me this, so I haven't really fact checked it, but she's pretty knowledgeable about this stuff. That Walt Disney himself said he would do, all these movies could come out, but later on there had to be some live action remakes of them. He wanted to go on that direction. So
He's a
that's what I know.
businessman.
But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, it wasn't
Well, and
definitely.
this is not to discourage any filmmaker. I mean, it does get annoying when I see people acting like, oh, their heart's in it versus the money. It's like bullshit. They might be attached to it seriously, like it's their kid, but at the end of the day, they want to return just as much as the person who doesn't care and is doing it for the return. So
Brad
it is
Pitt,
I
Brad
annoying.
am
Pitt.
I'm no
No,
longer
Brad
an
Pitt.
actor. I was a stage actress, but
Really?
back in my youth, I did directing and I did a lot of acting. And I love musicals, so I was a singer as well. But
And
now
Daniel, you do
I
stage
write.
stuff too, right?
I've done theater, community theater, like
That's what I
Theater
see. You
Manos.
post a lot. Yeah.
I've done limited film and TV work, nothing major,
Just
But
extra work.
I'm sorry to interrupt.
Sorry.
But of all people, Kevin Bacon, when he was Kevin Bacon, give that man so much credit. He's reached a point in his career where he acknowledges what he is, what his legacy is, and he was talking about, of all things, Tremors, how humiliated he was, how
I remember when that
humiliated he
came
was
out.
to make that movie, but now he embraces that movie,
Well, it
and he
has
looks,
such a huge cult thing to it, and to
yeah.
achieve cult status is really like the epic thing.
But he looks back at his early career when he did like Footloose and whatnot. He was a heartthrob, and he says, "You know what? There's not one young actor who does not get into it because they want to make money and meet girls. It's not about art." And that's why he was so humiliated to make Tremors. Today, he loves that movie. He embraces it wholeheartedly.
That's great because you don't see a lot of people do that. They're just everybody's early work. They look back and they're like, oh man. My favorite author is Stephen King, and he wrote this like his magnum opus is this Dark Tower series, and you read
Love
The
it.
Gunslinger. I love it too. I read The Gunslinger and I read it once. I'm a habitual rereader. I read so fast and I just run out of
That's
material,
great.
so I
Yeah.
reread stuff I like. But I read The Gunslinger only once, and Stephen King's like, okay, like I wrote that when I was 17. It's a little embarrassing. And then
What?
many years later, he goes back into it with Drawing You Three. And I'm like, so I tell everybody, I'm like, I want you to read this. Skip the first book. Okay. Trust me on this. Because
How?
they cover it. They cover it. And for me to say that about a Stephen King book, it's pretty deep. But like skip it. I'm like, they cover it all in Drawing You Three and the rest of the books. It's really hard read. And you're not going to have fun. So it'll make you hate the series. I don't want you to start out that way. Just go straight to the second book. And it's been a winning formula. I'm like, yeah, just skip it. They cover it. It's cool.
Jeez.
Yeah. So, yeah. So like I have books and I do what Stephen King does because he's like my hero as far as writing. I wrote this great zombie novel. I thought, and I put it aside for a couple years. And I picked it up and I'm like, oh my god.
But part of my saying
I
so,
started. I'm
Sorry,
sorry.
go ahead.
part of my saying so, I'm working on a children's book about a zombie.
No. I gotta
That's
read
great.
this.
My kids would be, when they were growing up, they grew up into horror just like I did. I was into
That's
horror
the
from
idea.
childhood, and my kids, they have fun with this. I'm like, it's like scary fun, and
It's
I start them out gently. It was always like Night of the
yeah,
Dead or
soft.
something.
You know,
And I'm like, why is this in black and
gremlins
white? And
and
then they get into it. But start them early.
but the title Zeke the Loneliest Zombie.
I like it,
Great,
Zeke.
the great concept. I'm interested in the pitch.
You'd have to hear the whole thing, but it's a short story, like a kid's pop-up book. But I'm really hoping I can get this done and published this year because I think it's got a lot of potential.
I'm also working on getting published this year. But I kind of write, and they all have elements of horror in them. But that zombie story is not ever going to see the light of day. I am going to destroy it and burn it because oh my god, it's awful. But I started out early writing career. I got like awards in high school. I got published. I was a short story writer then, and I wrote some
Mhm.
really off the wall shit. Now I'm like, oh god, it's out there, and I'm so embarrassed. But I'm
Gotta
more of
own it.
just a novel person, so that's what I do. But I had arm surgery last October, and it's going to take me a year to recover. And it kills
That
me that I
sucks.
can't sit at my computer every day and just type out 8,000 words. I'm like, oh, I'm dying, like writing in my head. And so that's basically what I'm doing. Is I'm trying to write in my head, and I'm also I want to work on a horror podcast of my own. So I'm trying to get that
Count me
together.
in.
Nice.
Count me in.
I'm not really like technically, in the know. So I'm trying to find people who can do this and know how to do it. I'm just like I'm the idea person. That's what I got. So,
Okay.
technical knowledge, no.
Very cool.
So that's in the works. When I know more, I will relay that.
Mm-hmm.
Certainly.
By all means.
Yeah. And I watch Mystery Science Theater every single day. I cannot sleep unless I have an episode on. My
Yeah.
obsession is
It's funny to
is
me
deep.
because lately what I've been binge watching is the Mexican Santa Claus episode.
Oh my god, I love that
I
one.
mean, I
That
mean
is like
Christmas
my
is well past
favorite
now, but
favorite.
for some reason I've been watching that one lately and just
But and that's the beauty of MST3K is like you go through phases with like an episode or a season, and my favorites change every couple years. Like right now, it's a tie between Future War and Merlin. I tend to favor the later episodes. We won't get into the politics on that, but um,
Okay.
sometimes I just go through like a mood, and I'm just like, I feel like watching, Village of the Giants, even though I just watched it like 3 days ago. I have to watch it again. My husband's like, I really hate that episode. Like, of all episodes, why always that one? And
Right.
cool note on that, Quentin Tarantino, when he did Death Proof for the Grindhouse thing, um, he used the music from Village of the Giants. I'm
Did
full
he
of random
really?
knowledge. That's like my skill. That's like my only skill.
God, that's like the only popular movie that's considered good in some way to use movie music from an infamous movie, I guess. And and I mean, I mentioned about this before. You definitely see a lot of our beloved filmmakers who aren't keen on the MST3K because for whatever reason they're just blinded by their nostalgia of this. And don't get me wrong, there is some cool nostalgia to this. These movies were the definitive, drive-in kind of Cineplex back
hmm
in their
Right.
respective time. But, some of them haven't aged as well. Some of them are just unintentionally goofy. Some of them are so bad they're good. Some of them are fun, but
And some of
you
them
have to.
are real work. You got to really just get down and
Mhm.
dirty and watch them. Like, okay, I got to do this one because
Oh yeah,
that's
I've,
pod people for me.
but
People
oh
is
totally.
just like I got to really concentrate and do it.
Didn't you say? Oh, that's my favorite. But
But see, and see, that's the beauty is no Missy is alike. You know.
yeah, no, everyone has their favorite, least favorite episode. I mean, we were talking about Squirm last time. I've been
Oh
meaning to rewatch
God, I
Squirm for
love
a while.
Squirm.
Yeah, I've been meaning to rewatch it, but growing up, I got sick of it because it was like the most replayed episode. I'm like, it's so
But
gross.
it's so great. But see,
I'm
yeah, I
sure it
go through
is.
phases with Squirm. Absolutely. One,
Well,
because
and
it's a horror film, and it was just one of the 70s, like something I always want to talk about is like the golden age of horror for me is like the 70s and 80s, and then I just think some of the best and worst movies were made then, that
yeah.
make horror history great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I love Squirm for what it is.
Well, I mean, that's just it. Is we say this all the time in the show. Call a spade, you know.
Exactly.
And I mean,
Shovel, damn it.
I would like to make Santa Claus Conquers the Martian be a typical once a year kind of deal for every Christmas.
I do it at Christmas, and that's the only time because I think the Santa Claus, the Mexican one, was superior episode. Like as far as riffing and like the actual movie itself is just it's so ridiculous. It's just wonderful. I love the part where the deer is laughing and they're like, "We're in hell." It just kills me. And that is a mouth, isn't it? You know, when it's
I'm
clearly
sorry.
like this
For me,
labial
it
looking
is always
thing. You know,
just that opening part with Santa playing his organ because I live
and
in
it
New
just
Jersey.
goes on forever.
I live
It
in New
is.
Jersey, and there's
It
several.
is.
Living in New Jersey, there's several like really weird small theme parks at the area in Pennsylvania. There's one called the Land of Make Believe, and my dad called it where you go to make believe there's something worth paying to see.
Oh.
And one I will never forget from my childhood. I went there with school when I was in grade school, and they had a Santa's workshop, and there is an animatronic Santa playing his organ, and that is all I can think of when I see that, and
Nightmare fuel.
and just that one line about ho 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 ho, staying
Staying
alive, staying alive.
alive.
So
We
now,
have a place here called it's called Holiday World now, but it used to be called Santa Claus Indiana is where it's at. It was called Santa Claus Land when I was a kid, showing my age there. But we used to go there, and that's what I think of is like there's all this horrible Santa stuff everywhere, and it was crazy all year round because you go there in the summer. Indiana, you don't go to theme parks in the winter. You don't really do much in the winter, but be cold. But so you go there in the summer and there's Santa everywhere, and I'm just like screaming internally. Yeah, that's what I think of as kind of a
Shoot your
similar
eye
thing.
out, kid.
My husband looks like Ralphie, so that's like a.
no way. Oh my
He
God.
did when he was a kid. We've known each other since we were 7. He looks like Ralphie, so he hates
Jeez.
Christmas because we ruin it for him. We're like Ralphie.
Now I know the origin stories of the two of you. So would you guys care to recast some action themed MST Free K themed movies some future?
Oh baby, oh baby.
Okay, can you define like okay, because
So
I'm not
action
an
sorcery,
movie
action.
person.
Well, yeah, but they have a bunch of those, like Warrior of the Lost World, Cave Dwellers, all the
Okay.
sorcery, Mitchell, obviously,
Would
stuff like that.
okay, if Mitchell qualifies, I'm gonna
I
claim
mean, there's
Mitchell.
shootouts, and it's a revenge movie, so I mean,
And
Outlaw
John
of
Saxon's
Gore.
in it.
Outlaw of Gore, there you go.
I have a weird, creepy crush on John Saxon. So yeah, I definitely want Mitchell. Yeah, I know. Everybody laughs about it, and that's okay. That's okay.
Oh, don't worry.
I'm
We'll talk about
absolutely
him.
in love with him. I'm waiting
Bruce
to
Lee
see
wanted to
him
kick his
at.
ass.
I'm waiting for him to come in Horror Hound. I know he's quite aged, but keep hoping they'll
Yeah.
come to the Horror Hound convention here in Indy.
Me and a
Because I
bunch
really
of
want to meet him.
Nightmare on, I like how he's in all the Nightmare on Elm Street movies, but no one's going to say that he was a nightmare to work with. But don't.
Except Bruce Lee.
Oh, well,
Well,
not everyone can get along with Bruce Lee. And I mean, he's dead and John's not. Okay, I'm being a dick on that one. But seriously, I mean, yeah, don't get me wrong. Bruce Lee could
I
kick
also have a
any
crush
living
on Bruce Lee.
martial artist. Well, there you go. Bruce Lee could probably actually kick anyone's ass, except for Dolph Lundgren, because
I'd probably
no one
let him. I'd be like,
Destroyed
wow,
Chuck Norris.
such an honor.
Oh yeah, Chuck. Yeah, I mean, I would rather watch Bruce Lee Texas Ranger than fucking Chuck Norris did for 11 years on that shitfest. God.
I accidentally stumbled across an episode of that show, and I was like, I'm so heartily sorry for what I have done.
I have seen every single episode. It's a great comedy. A great comedy.
I can't do it. I can't do it.
No, I definitely couldn't do it now. I was in college. That was my excuse. I've seen every episode of TJ Hooker, which was by the same creators. So I mean,
which was also another cringy show.
Absolutely. The equivalent that we have of that nowadays has to be something like Queen of the South, or even what's the other one? NCIS Los Angeles. Yes, there you go. Those are as close as you get to a drinking game, but they're not as fun, you know. I mean,
I,
there's just
I
something.
don't watch a lot of TV. I mean, I mainly just kind of binge stuff. So like I do HBO shows. My husband had been leaning on me for a good 7 years to watch Game of Thrones, and I finally said, if you will shut up, I will watch it. This is right before season 8. I managed to watch 7 seasons in a month, and
I
I
hope you had
just
fun.
I was obsessed. I'm like Daenerys everywhere,
That's
everywhere.
why I won't watch it,
Daenerys.
because it's like a drug.
You can't stop.
I
Yeah,
I,
I
I
would
could
be watching
stop.
like 3, 4 episodes a night.
I stopped after around season 6, and then pretty much only watched it because other people were watching it. So I mean, yeah.
Well, I was late
But
to the party because I don't watch shows. I watch movies. I'm a movie person. So
Well, no, that's fine.
then I
So if there's a lot of movie type people in a show, that makes it more compelling because it's filmed just like a movie. And I mean, we talk about many shows on here like The Shield, 24, The Wire, and even The Sopranos. They all had a movie kind of style that made them stand out. So
yeah,
you didn't.
HBO shows are really high quality. So after we did that, I was like, I want to rewatch True Blood, and I did that. Because of course, horror, vampires, supernatural stuff. I was like, cool. And absolutely everybody in that show was just so gorgeous that I just like every time I just go look in the mirror and I'm like, oh man, I feel so bad about myself because they're all every one of them gorgeous.
Yeah, and fortunately, many of these shows have learned to even seamlessly play just like a movie. So, like when you watch an episode of Psych or even Stargate SG-1, they take out the commercial, fade to black, and I'm like, thank you. I mean, it flows just like a movie. It doesn't feel like
Exactly.
it doesn't have the cut for time moment that you end up having to put up with. I can watch any of these Law and Order type shows too, because those are basically stage plays with the documentary style filmmaking. So just everyone's got their own preference on what a good show is. But yes, the movie type quality has flowed into other shows like Daniel was just mentioning Breaking Bad, and I binged watched the hell out of Yellowstone season 2 recently, and I was like, I can't wait for season 3. What am I gonna do in between now and then?
Yeah, I can only binge watch shows because I can't wait a week. I'm very impatient,
Yeah,
so I
no, it's
watched all
terrible.
7 seasons of Game of Thrones in like a month. Like I said, like every night, just 4 or 3 episodes, whatever. And then season 8 came out, and I'm like, I gotta wait a fucking week. What is this bullshit? I need
Yeah,
to know what happens right now.
the
I don't
commercials
like
are
this.
the commercials are insufferable too. They have gotten so lazy, not only
well,
just
that's why
with that,
streaming is a thing.
right?
Yeah.
But like,
I mean, no commercials. That's great.
recently I had to say fuck you Hulu and just pay $7 extra just to get rid of the commercials. I'm like, I cannot take another Facebook watch ad, that one stupid ad with Kim Kardashian and J Lo. I'm like, it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't tell me anything. And the
I
only thing,
actually got rid of like TV and cable. I do Hulu. I do HBO Now. I do Boomerang because I'm a huge cartoon fanatic. Like, don't get me started on cartoons.
nice. You should try
So
Crackle or
I
CBS.
d- I've done Crackle in the past because it's the only place I could find a certain movie. But I'm not a huge fan. I want to add Shudder to the list, and
I do need to get
we
into that.
haven't done Disney Plus yet, but we're going to. But we have like Hulu. We have all that Netflix, everything. I'm kind of mad at Netflix right now because as a Misty, I think I deserve that. I'm like, how many times do we have to go through this? Can you not
Right?
crush my dreams? Like, I mean, seriously, as a Misty, I was, growing up as a kid, I was a huge Joel fan, because I knew nothing but Joel, and he was so cute and goofy. And then he left, and I was really heartbroken. And then there's Mike, and I'm like, oh, I hate him. And then I'm like, oh, but I love him actually. And then the show goes through all these different cancellations that moves to sci-fi, and we're like, okay, whoo, okay, we're gonna get some more. And then sci-fi's like, fuck you, because there's
Well,
just not a
Miss.
market for a 2 hour
Yeah,
long
that's they do.
show. And then after all these
Well,
years,
these
Netflix bring it, they bring it
the
back, and I fall
show
in love with Jonah. And then they're taking that from me, and I'm like,
pretty much based on all three eras. This is one beloved show which will stand the test of the time because the love, the fans are what make it, and you
Star
have
Trek.
and we are
right.
hardcore.
Right, much like Star Trek, like Daniel said, and even Babylon 5. I'm going to go that far to make that comparison because you are talking about
Polari!
yeah, if you go to Zaha Doom, you will die. But so seriously, I mean, you are looking at 3 different networks who didn't appreciate what content they had. They wanted to get rid of it. They weren't crazy about it. They didn't have any creative control on it. They didn't win awards for it, so they said "fuck you" each time. So you look at Comedy Central, Sci-Fi, and now Netflix, and now. Yeah, when a few other people in our chat were saying, "I hope Shudder picks up this show," is like, I hope that is true. I hope they do shop it around to that.
But I know it's going to end up somewhere. I mean, look how long all of us
What I
sat and
said about
waited
Hannibal.
from what? What about Hannibal?
I kept saying they'll shop it around. They'll find a home. I'm waiting.
Well, Hannibal doesn't have like the Misty fan base because we are just ride or die.
Wow.
I have been since I was a kid with this show. Like I grew up with it, and there was a
I know. I
huge
still have
gap.
VHS tapes of it.
The
I have
huge
Tom
gap.
Servo's
Oh,
favorite host segments.
I have everything. Yeah, you should see my collection. I'll have to take some pics sometime. Just all the
I mean,
shit that I
did you
have. I
guys
have
go
the
to the fair?
original volume 10. From
Nice.
Rhino with
Ah,
Godzilla on it.
there you
So
go.
that's like kind of my prized possession.
Oh,
I don't like the episode, which is hilarious, but I have it. People are like, "You have it?"
I will bid you for it, but
I don't want to let it go. It's kind of that. It's mine. I don't want it, but you can't have it. I just have it, and it's like one of those status things in the Misty
Guess I'll
community.
have to go back
Yes,
to
I have an
eBay.
original. I have an original,
Okay.
Rhino release, which
It's like
you
it's like a
can only
nerd
get for a
pickup
week.
line. Hey, baby, you want to see my Spider-Man number 5?
My God.
Yeah.
Set your crank to Frank. Say that more seductively. Set your crank to Frank.
Hey there.
If I may interrupt you guys.
Yeah, I know you want me, baby. And with that note, I'm looking forward to our next installment where we find because again, like any other podcast, we find the best thing in anything, good or bad. So I mean. The Jacked Up Review Show can also be followed on Facebook on both the page and the group. Feel free to chat, leave questions, make requests for future episodes. You can also follow us on Instagram and Twitter. Thank you so much for your various support, and we'll continue to entertain the hell out of you. Till then, take care.